Hi, Stef, how are you?
Hi, John. I'm good. How are you?
No, I'm really good. Thanks for coming on and having a wee chat. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you having me on. Thanks for
No,
having me.
no, it's good. It's so weird hearing people say that, honestly. It's just like, wow, it blows my mind. No, it's just good because, obviously, when you're doing this kind of stuff, it's a wee bit out your well, for me, it's outside my comfort zone. And then just building my confidence now, just in having people like yourself on and who I feel you're pretty like-minded and pretty similar. So it helps with me with the nerves and that as well. But no, Steph, if you want, you can maybe just tell us a wee bit about yourself and a wee bit about your story.
Sure. Well, my name's Stephanie. I'm 38 years old, getting old now, and I'm from Springburn in Glasgow. So I'm from the scheme, and last year I decided to leave the scheme to go solo travelling. So I think I've been away for about 7 months now. So that's where I'm at in my journey in life.
Wow. Obviously, you just go up and travel and stuff like that. Was it just kind of like last minute thing, just like go for it, or was it like a wee bit of planning, or what was it? What was the thought process?
It was definitely last minute. Listen, guys, if anybody's thinking about solo travelling, like I would say plan it a little bit. Don't leave it like me. So basically, I gave myself a month's notice. So I was self-employed back home, and it was creeping into the sort of winter time. It was like October, and I was like, nah. My mood starts to dip. Like my mental health does take a wee dip when it comes to winter. Like I love the summer, I love the sunshine. So I was like, this ain't the one. I can't do this another year. So I was like, nah, I'm just going to go for it. And I'd been travelling. I started my travelling journey when I was 17. And when I came home, I always wondered what if. So when it got to this year, I was just, obviously, after the few years of lockdown and everything else, I went, nah, I'm doing it. So I gave myself a month's notice. I just basically sold everything in my house, like clothes, shoes. I had like gym equipment. I used to do PT and all that. So I had like a gym room, like multi gym, treadmill, all these kind of equipments. I was like, they're all getting sold. Everything's getting sold. I told all my clients, listen, this is the last month. You need to do everything yourself. And then I just booked a one way flight. Went for Edinburgh. I started off in Corfu in Greece. I've got a friend over there. Supposed to be there for about a week or two. Ended up there for nearly 2 months. Then from there, I travelled over to Thailand. Again, I had no plans, like no itinerary. I did book like a overwater bungalow for a month, like in December, and that was an island called Koh Tao. And it started raining, so I was like, right, I'm not going there. So then I was looking at an island I'd been on before, which was Koh Samui. That was raining, and I was like, nah, no chance. So I was in Bangkok, and I was like there for a couple of days. And then I had a friend contact me, and he lives in Pattaya. So he was like, oh, why don't you come through here? But anybody who's watching who knows Pattaya, they know it's, let's call it Sin City, right? It's more for men than it is for women. We'll put it that way. Aye, it's something else. It's like Vegas. It's, I don't know. Well, I've not been to Vegas, but I imagine that's how it is. But it's like men in a sweetie shop, right? That's the way it is. So I was like, "Are you sure? Like, will it not be too much?" And he's like, "No, it'll be fine." So I went through there. Ended up, I was going to be there for the weekend and then find an island to go to. But I was speaking to him about I do some like online digital marketing, and he was like, "Oh, I've got a business here." He's been here for like 20 years, and he was like, "Oh, can you set up some online stuff for me?" And I was like, "Aye, sure." So I was just basically staying with him for a few weeks, building up his businesses. And then it was like Christmas, New Year. And then after New Year, he ended up buying a bar over there, like an Irish bar. So then he was like, "Oh, you want to help me with this business as well?" So I ended up there for, I think it was about 5 months, helping him out. And then my little brother, he stays in Australia. He came here like 2 years ago, and he wanted to go on holiday to Bali with his girlfriend, but he's got two dogs. So he was like, "Stephanie, do you fancy coming over to Australia to watch the house, to watch the dogs?" And I was like, well, why not? So that's how I've ended up here. So everything is just random for me. Like there's no plan. There's no. I try and forward plan, but I've realised in life nothing goes to plan. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a case of
On the flow.
go with the flow, trust the universe, and see what happens, because whatever will be will.
Definitely. And just to have that leap of faith and just go for it. It's inspiring for people as well, because people we get stuck in a wee trap, don't we? And we kind of the years pass, the days pass, and you're like, nah, this is it for me. But it doesn't have to be, does it?
This is the thing, like, I'm 38, so regardless of what age people are, like, I think that the biggest thing is the fear. And what I say is, I would rather try something and fail than always wonder what if, because that's what did happen. Like when I was traveling when I was 17, and then I came back to Scotland, and then it's like, I always say to myself, I wonder how my life would be if I never left. I was going to do like teaching English courses and stuff, and I just say, like, turn of events, like, I wonder how my life would have panned out if I did stay there. But I think like everything happens in your life for a reason, and you're exactly where you need to be at that moment in time, whether that's to teach you things, whether it's to progress you onto who you're going to be in your future self. But I would say traveling, just, and it doesn't need to be travel, this can be of any aspect in life, whether it's business, personal relationships, whatever it is, like, just go for it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work out. People say to me, but what if it doesn't work out? And I can get a flight home.
Mm.
That's no big
But
deal, do
what
you
if
know
it
what I
does?
mean?
But what if it does?
What if it does? Exactly. Like, look at me 7 months down the line. Like, I didn't expect to be here. I didn't expect to be away this long. I didn't know. I didn't know what to expect. And I'm loving life. Do you know what I mean?
And that's what the fear is, isn't it? But the unknown, innit? It's just that kind of like, oh no, but what if? What if?
What if?
I don't know, we're just bloody trained in the mind to just think the worst all the time. It could actually just be really good. Do you know what I mean? It could
Exactly.
be so successful. Like, success comes in many ways, doesn't it? It's not just financial, it's actual having that fulfillment in life and doing what you love. I mean,
And like that, like, this is all this traveling is based on no having any savings. Like, I literally had zero savings. So when well, the month that I was planning on getting away, that was like my last month of clients. That was selling stuff in my house and just having the faith in myself, like doing my digital marketing. I had started getting into the digital marketing before I left, and that was a case of me taking a leap of faith, saying, well, it needs to work. Like, that's all you've got. Like, that's just gonna, you're just gonna. And the thing is when you're traveling, it's not like your holiday. Like, that's your way of life now. So regardless of how much or how little, people always say to me, is it expensive? Traveling is expensive as you make it. So if you want to stay in luxurious villas and you want to eat out every single meal and you want to do all this, then your money's going to deplete very quickly. Whereas you get more budget accommodation, if you're happy with, settling for something that's not as luxurious, then your money can stretch a lot longer. Depending on where you are, your money will stretch longer. Like when I was in Thailand, you're talking it's cheap there, but now I'm in Australia, in a very expensive part of Western Australia, and I'm thinking my daily budget in Thailand couldn't even match a minute here. Like, it's madness. Depending on where you go, do you know what I mean, is going to determine how long you can stay there.
I know, definitely. As you said, it's how you live, like, in life, and you can have, like, I'll talk about watches. You can have £1,000 watch, or you can have a £10 watch. They both tell the time. It's the same
Exactly.
when you're eating as well. How you're living your life. It's what you choose to do as well.
Hmm.
You can have the fancy motor, the house, and that kind of stuff. Or you can actually be living your life and going out and then, like, choosing how to spend your time. You know what I mean, that's nearly.
Definitely. And that, to me, time is priceless. So many people say to me, you're living the dream, right? But if I go by social standards, I'm homeless. I gave up my property when I left. I'm now technically homeless. Like, I don't have a job. I'm unemployed. I don't receive any benefits, but I'm unemployed. I don't know where I'm going day after day. Like, so you're kind of programmed, probably from a child, you're programmed by the whole schooling and education system. You're programmed to believe you need to go out there, you need to get a 9 to 5, you need to get a good corporate job, you need to have a big fancy car. For what? I remember when I had got an Audi on finance, right? And all in all, I was about £500 a month, right? And I was working 7 days a week. So I think in about 2 years, I had done about 7,000 miles on the clock, right? And I thought, no, I was only working for the local council at the time doing admin, right? I probably was clearing about £1,300, £1,400 a month, and I'm staying myself. I'm paying my own rent, council tax, everything, and I'm saying to myself, why have I even got this? Why have I got this car that's costing me £500 a month when I don't need a car, considering I'm working 7 days a week? Where am I going? I'm going to my work and back, like I'm not going anywhere. But again, like you're programmed to like get a nice car, get this, get that. Everybody that says to me, oh, I've just bought my own property and stuff like that, and I'm more happy for them. But at the same time, and I look at them and I say, you've not actually bought your property. You're now entering into £250,000 worth of debt, because that house isn't yours until you've fully paid that off. So what that's going to do is it's got you into a mortgage, which means that you're going to then need to stay in a secure job, as you would call it, because you're going to feel the need that you need to have a steady income to then pay that mortgage, to do this, to do that, and the next thing. And then who's it for? Is it for your own happiness, or is that to prove to people, I've got a bought house? Because there's so many people that will look down their nose, like a council property or anything like that. If you're living in a council property, you're paying rent, right? So you're probably paying a lot more than some people's mortgages. You also can get everything fixed for you. Whether it comes, anything breaks, you get it fixed. You don't need to have a backup fund. So there's so many things that people are programmed to believe is to show that you've made it in life. But yet so many people will say to me, you're living your best life. But against their social standards, I've not got any of those tick boxes. Do you know what I mean? So it depends on who you are as a person and what you feel is success. But success to me is like very similar to yourself. It's like it's happiness. It's having the time to go and be able to do things in life that you enjoy.
No, having that fulfillment. Well, you said there as well, didn't you? Like homeless, but put it this way, you're mortgage free then.
Well, exactly. That's
Aye.
it. You
Yeah, I
might be
can see
homeless,
freedom.
but I don't have a mortgage to pay.
You're mortgage free. I get that freedom. No, but it's status, isn't it? It's people just see status, and it's like, and that's what probably where the mental health comes in with people as well, isn't it? Like they're basically fighting this fight to
Just
pay all these bills and keep up the appearances and stuff like that when really they're struggling. Whereas if they just maybe are true to themselves and say, "Do you know what, I don't need this. I need to be
exactly.
happy. My happiness comes way before my status." You know what I mean?
100%. And it's like we call it like the weekend millionaire, especially when you have grown up like us in the scheme where I mean I've had as people might class it as a deprived in a deprived place. Like growing up, there was 10 people in my family. There's my mum and dad. I've got 6 brothers and a sister. There was 10 of us in a house. So I got everything that I needed, but I certainly didn't get everything I wanted. But I had such a happy childhood. I have great memories of childhood. Going places like Butlins. I loved Butlins. Like that was amazing to me. I still like know the words to songs and that. Couldn't tell you why I walked in the kitchen, but I can tell you a blooming Butlins song. Like, I have so many like happy childhood memories. Like, I remember even us in the living room playing charades, playing board games. Like, there was one called Atmosphere, which was this. It's
Think
kind of
about
like like a horror kind of movie thing type. But just there's so many like happy memories, and I think none of them involved money. None of them involved like materialistic things. That was just being around, surrounded by people you love, just having fun. Do you know what I mean? I think nowadays, like, that's where there's a loss with the whole social media element of it, where when we were younger, we probably didn't get social media till you were like 15, 16,
mm.
and it wasn't on that scale. So we were probably the last generation that were able to live freely without people standing there recording what you're doing and that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? I've just, it's just different times now, isn't it?
And what you saying there about like the memories and stuff like that, it's the stuff you do remember. It's like the time spent with each other and it. And
Hmm.
because like, listen, I've made a mistake. You think you're getting your kids better and you're trying to take them these holidays and that kind of stuff. And then I look
Hmm.
back and I talk to my kids and they're like, oh, I don't really remember that, but do you know what I do remember? I remember we went to the park, we had that picnic and we done these things and you just I cut myself up a wee bit. I'm like, did I waste so much? It's all about
Hmm.
learning and all, I suppose, and
Definitely.
hopefully you're passing that on to the next generation as well, that they realise that they don't need all these fancy holidays, fancy things. They just need to be, as you say, surrounded by people above you and people that,
Exactly.
do you know what I mean?
And this is the thing, when people are chasing materialistic things, it's you're asking like what is that void that you're trying to fill? Like a lot of people nowadays will try and give kids stuff that they didn't have, but they forget to give them the things that they did have. Like my nephews, for example, so I've lost count, I think I've got about 7 nephews now, right? And so when it came to Christmas there, now they're always getting after me. Like every time I've got them, we go to the shops, they get what they want, right? But I'm very much like that. I'll take them, like I'll jump the train. So when they're with me, we say, right, we're not getting in a car, you're using public transport. And they're like, they always say, oh, is Auntie Stephanie? I don't want to walk. I'm like, who says you're walking? But they just associate that with me. So I'll take them on the bus, then we'll get the train, we'll go to somewhere like Loch Lomond, Balloch or whatever. Like I'll have a picnic, usually go to like the pound shop and Partick or something before we get the train. We'll get them like a load of stuff. I get like those gold chocolate coins. I get like paper, crayons, pens, and then I like draw a treasure map, and then I plant stuff in the woods and all that. And they love all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? But it's like things like that. Like people don't daze much now because it's just like, oh, there's your iPad. Like entertain yourself basically. But I try and bring that element back. Like Christmas, no Christmas, early Christmas before, when I was in Scotland, and I'm like, they're all spoiled. They've got everything they want. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to take them to the carnival. That's going to be their present. And then I was like, how do I tell them that? And we always go up to my ma's for Christmas dinner. So I was like, right, this is what I'm going to do. So I wrapped up Iron Brew cans because it's the Iron Brew Carnival in Glasgow. So I wrapped up the Iron Brew cans in the wrapping paper, and I got them I was videoing them, I think I'd done it on TikTok actually, and I got them to sit on each stair, like going up the stairs. And they all had like an envelope wrapped around the Iron Brew can or whatever, right? So they all had to unwrap and read what it said, and then it was like, we are going to the Iron Brew, blah blah blah, and then they were just like, yeah, and then they pure loved it. And you think like that's just them got to the carnival. Like I would have took them anyway, do you know what I mean? But that can be their gift because see, I used to go out and buy them designer clays. The beans don't know the difference whether it's blooming Hugo Boss or blooming, I don't know. Do you know? I exactly, like Waynes don't care about clays. Like, and there's so many people on social media that they will put their kids in designer clays, and it does look cratting and they look cute and all that. But you're already establishing that in that child's mind that they need that to be validated. They don't. Your Wayne can look just as cute with pre-marked clays on. Do you know what I mean?
No, but you're stimulating them with that kind of present as well, isn't it? It's almost getting their mind thinking, and they're actually spending time together as cousins, as
Aye, well, this is it. Aye, family time.
it's back to that time again, isn't it? Like as you said, it's sort of with the stimulating and that kind of stuff, getting them thinking, and that's the memories in it. It's probably that's where the memories come from when they're actually engaging.
100%. And then, like you say, like even with your kids, they might not remember that you've spent all this money taking them to such and such, but they remember that one wee toy that you got them. Do you know what I mean? And it's just that like kids' minds are like they don't need anything. They need your presence. They need you to be there, and they need like stimulation outside all this world, the social media world, and everything else like that. And that's where you're going to create the memories and create them as adults. Because everything we do with kids and stuff like that, that mould them into who they are as adults. And this is why we all come from generational trauma, because it's like our parents didn't have the emotional intelligence skill wise, like because in all their generations it was like man up. And this is when it comes on to like men's mental health. Men men are not open to speak freely. They're not supposed to speak about their emotions. Like the men in the family are not allowed to cry in front of others. They're not allowed to show. And I've said this to you, there is so much pressure on you as men, like especially like fathers and your family. It's like as providers and stuff like that, and people don't see that. People don't see the pressure that's on men because they need to carry it and they've not to see it. Whereas a woman would say, "For fuck's sake, I'm doing everything in here." Blah blah blah. Where is it when it comes to men? And just obviously thinking because Father's Day's coming up. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's a case of like men don't get celebrated enough, or men don't have the opportunity where they'll say like everybody can say, "Oh mate, I'm here if you need me," but men
Who's the
don't tend to speak to their guy pals the way women do and offload. Do you know what I mean? And this is where it comes into the whole where it can be a slippery slope for guys.
As a man like myself, obviously, but
Mhm.
I don't. I'd rather see somebody else get something. Do you know what I mean? They're getting the recognition, and again, this is just my opinion. I'm terrible for accepting praise, and again, I don't know if that's just maybe part of me growing up and stuff like
Grown up,
not having that and stuff. But I actually find it difficult, really difficult to say
take
well done.
compliments.
Aye, somebody saying well done. And again. I suppose it's like we spoke about earlier as well, is about that self-love and on to it as men and all.
Mm-hmm.
Learning that we are important as well, and I'm probably gonna have to be a topic here, but for me, when I talk about my mental health, I used to always get really scared because I used to think to myself, as the provider, if I go under, they're all going under. Do you know what I mean? So, as you said there, the men they have to carry a wee bit. Not always. There is relationships where
Of
it's
course.
equal on that as well. Generationally, it's kind of the men that's been the main provider. No, for me, good you saying that. It isn't. But again, a lot of men don't really know how to take compliments. They don't know how to give praise, and they
Mm-hmm.
kind of just laugh it off and talk it off, and then maybe just suffer in silence. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I do think men do need to open up more and speak to each other, and even like in a lot of the times where people turn to substances, where it's like your pal's going through something, or mate, going to the pub and we'll do blah blah blah, forget about it. Here's a drink. Here's a drink. Remember that alcohol is a depressant, so rather than asking them to go to have a drink, why don't you phone up your pal and say, oh mate, want to go for a fucking Nando's or whatever it may be, want to go for something to eat, and then actually sit and talk and have a conversation when you are sober. Because I've had many a times where I'll go a night out with my pals and you can see that way and they're starting to get all emotional, and I always say to them, because I only maybe drink maybe 4 or 5 times a year, and I'll go out for like childhood like friends' birthdays, and that's kind of the only time I do it. So I'm not a lot. So when I'm out. So I say to them, listen, anything you want to talk to me, you do it sober. Don't be bringing it up on a night out when you're all trying to enjoy yourself. And this is the thing, they might not open up until they've got a drink in them, and you're just thinking, tell me this when you're sober, come and speak. And this is where it is important that for people who are suffering, or that if you feel like your pal, see if your pal's pulling away and you don't hear from your pal much, right? The chances are is that they're going through something. So rather than be like, yeah, oh, they've not even messaged me, fuck them, blah blah blah. How about you reach out to them and just say, oh, I've noticed that you've not really been saying much lately. How is everything? You alright? You fancy going for something to eat and we'll get a catch up? And then actually in person, speaking to them and be like, is there anything going on, mate? Like, what's been happening? And then they're going to be more inclined to tell you. And men don't praise themselves. And even with yourself, like with this podcast, and you're taking that leap of faith and you're going for something that you want to do, and like everybody can just comment below and just tell them well done because you're smashing it, and like you're not afraid to be chasing something that you love. And this is the thing, and everybody starts from somewhere, and people can be like, oh, is this going to get many views, is this going to do that? But taking all that aside, like, you're going for it, you're doing it, do you know what I mean? And the only people that are going to hate or like criticize this is somebody who's no doing something, because people who are trying will always big you up and will always celebrate you. But the people who are jealous are the people who aren't trying anything. They're living in their fear bubble, and let them live in it, because we don't live in fear around here.
Yeah. Oh, I love it, Steph. No, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And no, you're 100% right. The people who will criticise it are the ones who lash you, are the ones that are that are hurting, are
Hmm.
struggling, and are finding it
Yep.
hard, and have not got that avenue to vent and stuff like that. So they go and do it negatively, whereas they could go and talk and get help themselves. And but again, I suppose it's got to recognise it as well within themselves, isn't it?
Hmm. Aye, and there's a thing I mean, especially a lot of people can experience trauma in their life, which we've all been through, right? But that doesn't give you an excuse to be a shitty person to somebody else. So as much as I can be empathetic towards somebody who's going through stuff, and like, or like, give them a bye because of everything they've been through, but at the same time, like, they'll say like hurt people hurt others, like, but it doesn't give you an excuse. Like, if you're an adult, like, so whatever everybody's been through childhood wise, right, you were not in control of it, but as an adult it is your responsibility, so that you can either use that as motivation or you use that as an excuse. So for example, like us, if you've came for the scheme and say for instance you've had parents who have got substance misuse, right, so you can either look at that and say, right, my man and dad were an alcoholic, a drug abuser, or whatever. So I'm going down that's all I know. My mom gave me my first Valium when I was fucking 10, whatever it may be, right? Blah, blah, blah. So you can either use that in a victim mindset and say, right, well, I'm just going down that same route. Or you can look at it as a motivation, say, do you know what I seen growing up, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to become that person. So do you know what? I'm going to take it upon myself to whether it's going to your GP and getting therapy or going through stuff yourself, going to like local help groups, communities, and saying, I'm going to change my life around because I don't want that. So this is who I want to be in the future. So I'm going to take these steps to become that person. Do you know what I mean?
I definitely. It can be the motivation you say to get you to that and go, "Do you know what? I don't want to live like this. I can't live like this. I can't go through this." And aye, and just I'm not 100% sure. Like, but I'm guessing there is help and there is ways to speak in podcasts like this and people who are talking and that kind of stuff. It's hopefully giving people encouragement as well to go and go, "Do you know what? I'm not living like this. I can do other things. I mean, I can have a life almost."
Definitely. I've changed, even like when it comes to career wise, like people are scared of different stuff. I can tell you the amount of jobs that I've had, and we've spoke about this because we've worked in for the same company before as well. Like, there's so many opportunities out there. Like, if you don't go and try it, like people say to me, like, how have you had so many jobs? And I'll say, well, I get bored, like whether that's undiagnosed ADHD or whatever. But I go and try something, and if I don't like it, then I change it. And I'm a grafter. Like, it doesn't matter to me what kind of work I do. Like, as long as I'm working and making money, because I'm independent, nobody pays my bills but me. So as far as I'm concerned, well, if I'm not doing it, who's going to do it? Like, I've not got anybody to fall back on, or they're going to pick up the bills. I'm doing it myself. So people need to just get out of this fear mindset, like whatever aspect of life it is, and be like, see if you're fucking 45 years old and you want to change your career path, do it. Go and change it. Like, you don't need to stay in that job. The amount of people, especially when I was working for the council's probably the longest job I had, which was for about 8 years. And I'd done admin and I worked in schools and nurseries and all this kind of stuff. And there was people who were there for years and years. And I had, at the level that I was at, I had went for a few promotional positions and I never got them. And a lot of the time, they wouldn't be filled with people getting promoted. It was usually like a sidestep. But for whatever reason, I never got them. And it was a case of like there was people there who'd been in the job 10, 20 years and they're still on the same pay grade and they weren't progressing. And I say, look at business like you would look at a relationship. Me personally, am I going to stay with somebody for 10 or 15 years and they're no thinking about marrying you, they're no thinking about doing all this? No. So why are you staying in a job where you're undervalued, underappreciated? Like, ultimately, you're working for somebody else's dream. So if people are scared about going self-employed or whatever, like, try it as a side business first of all. Like, if you're in a full-time job, right, and you want to get out of this mindset of doing the rat race, then say to yourself, right, what is the other things that I'm passionate about, right? And then go try and do it in the evenings or weekends whenever you've got a bit of time. Build it up to the you get into a position, say, actually, I can do this full time. I can do this, and then just have that leap of faith and go for it. And again, try not get yourself bogged down with things like mortgages, fancy cars, all this kind of stuff. Because if you're no tied to things, you've got a little bit more financial freedom where you think, well, if this doesn't work out, I'm still all right for a few months. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. As you say, like people, just say for instance, you're 45 and you go, "Oh, I'm 45." Well, don't let it get to 46 then. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, it's like the day's a day. Let's get it done. Obviously, no, not just quit your job here and then, but no, as you say, just work on it and just make sure that when it is maybe that 46 year, you're like, "You know what? I'm not doing it now. That's me. I've done it."
Exactly. Definitely. Like with the council as well. Like, so during lockdown I had hit a low. Like, I was in the house, it was everybody was to stay in obviously. And I was like, I don't cope well when I'm in the house for too long. And I was like, I can't do this. And I felt myself slipping again. And at the time, so I'm very much trying to look at things objectively. And I say, right, so you're depressed. So rather than going to the GP and getting antidepressants, no, I'm going to go to the fucking root of the problem. What is making you depressed? So I sat and I always say this to people: if you're not happy, write a list of things that's making you unhappy. So what are you unhappy with in life? Literally write a list of it and then say, is this out of my control or is this in my control? So at the time, there was two things that I wasn't happy with in life, which was, one was my job at the time, and secondly was the situationship that I was in relationship wise. So the next day I woke up and I ended both of them. I ended the relationship and I handed my notice into the council. Did I have another job? No. Did I have the faith in myself that I would find something? Aye, because I tell you what, there's no more motivation to get a job than no having a job, because you're like, well, I need to pay the bills, I need to pay my rent, I need to pay my council tax, I need to get a job. So that's exactly what I done. And then I went and retrained, and that's when I went and got my personal training qualification, and then I started working in Pure Gym at the time. So for me, I completely changed. I went from doing admin to PTing. I totally changed it around, and then since then I've not looked back when it comes to being self-employed. That was like 3 years ago, and I'm like, I can't go back to working for somebody because I'm never appreciated in the workforce. I'm a grafter, and I always know that I'm underpaid for what I do, and I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore. Like, now my value will be based on what I put my value at. So that's the way I live my life now. And honestly, anybody out there who's feeling a wee bit unhappy with their life, whether it is relationship, business, friendships, whatever it may be, if people aren't serving you in life, cut them out your life. What do you need them for? You don't. Get them to that job, you can find another job. Put it this way, if anything was to happen to you, that job will replace you in a heartbeat. So don't be giving your loyalty to places. I don't know many people have got sick in a job that would replace them in 2 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah, just a number, eh? Excuse me. No, as you say, there's no greater incentive when you're not working. It's like, let's sink or swim into it. I mean, you get
Exactly.
you've no option. It's like, I need to go and do this now. It's like, could you do, like, that's what, comfort gets you, I was going to say comfortable. Comfort
Staying in
gets you comfortable.
places.
No, but it keeps you kind of locked in, because you're like, oh, this is easy. Obviously I worked for the council as well, and stuff like that as well, and that's what it is as well, is to being stimulated. You were basically, you were doing your job, and maybe, I don't know what, well, maybe just to your day was 8 hours, you're maybe finished at maybe 6 hours, and then you
Hmm.
were just like, and then you're just start thinking so much, and you're like, I can't do this, it's just, let's no stimulate me, I need to
Aye,
be,
there's no job satisfaction.
and it was just horrible really, man. I obviously came to New Zealand as well, man, and that's obviously a big jump as well.
You've got your own story in regards to that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've done that leap of faith as well, where you
No,
and your family is went out. I think we should do a wee episode where you tell everybody about your life as well. I'll be the one to do it with you.
no,
I'll be
no,
the podcaster. You can. But I feel I know people are scared to start over because they are too comfortable. Again, it comes down to like how they're how their perception, like how they're perceived socially, because so many people, right? And like I said, I've done so many stuff, and I remember before I left, I had a cleaning business, which was totally no expected. This I was doing social media for a company, and I was basically, it was an office full of guys, right? And the dishes, like the wee kitchenette was a mess. So I started cleaning up the dishes and stuff, and just waiting for somebody to come after the call so I could record them. So I had cleaned up, and then went on my call, whatever, and then they says to me, "Oh, listen, Steph, the office cleaner can't come this week. Any chance you would want to clean the office?" I said, "Aye, that's fine, I'll do that." And then they says, "No, we prefer the way you do it. Will you do it like every week?" And I was like, "Aye, that's fine." Which then led on to one of the guys saying, "Oh, Steph, my house cleaner can't come. Do you think you could clean my house?" And I'm like, "Don't know, I could try, like, whatever." And then he liked that, and he was like, "No, I want you to do it every fortnight." And then that then led on to a couple of guys in there wanting it, which then led on to some commercial work as well for offices and clinics and stuff like that. So all that just snowballed out of me. I was doing social media I wasn't even doing that, right? And this is the problem where people, because I then had my own cleaning business, right? So I was actually a cleaner, but I was also the business owner. So where does that leave me on people's perception of social standards? So they everybody always asks you what you do for a living so that they know how to approach you. So if I tell you I'm a cleaner, you're going to speak to me in a different way. But if I tell you I'm a CEO, you're going to treat me a different way. Where it shouldn't be, you just should be treating everybody as to how you meet them, how they are. If they are see you next Tuesdays, they'll see you next Tuesdays. It doesn't matter what they do for a living. Do you know what I mean? So people are in this fear base where if they want to change jobs, and for example, like hear me in Australia, right? If I want to go out there and get work, I'm going to need to go in at entry level. I can't go in at certain skilled levels because I'm not at that stage, visa wise, everything else like that. And I'm happy to do that if I want to live here. But there's people out there who would never consider taking a lower job in their eyes because I'm too good for that. And if that's your mindset, then you're
Aye.
going to always stay where you are in life because you're not going to progress when you've got that mindset.
You're setting yourself up for a fall, aren't you? If you can kind of realise that it doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you're doing something, it's because
Exactly.
you say you're starting again, aren't you? So you're basically having to start maybe at the bottom, but you're starting a wee bit maybe less because like that was the biggest fear for me as well, like when you're coming over here again because you're just starting out again. You're
Mhm.
literally I wouldn't say ground, but you're starting basically from the ground up if you know what I mean.
Definitely.
And that can be that was difficult as well. But it's as well. It's like with the because even if you're having that day types of job, it's opportunity. Because
Exactly.
you say, I mean, you're getting doing the social media and look what it led. It led to somewhere
Exactly.
completely different.
100%. And I always say to people, networking is your best thing because what I've found in life is it's not always about what you know, it is who you know. And it's not about that they'll get you in somewhere, but it's that they open a door for you. So, of course, you might need to have certain skill sets and certain things to do. But see, if you're, people always say to me, oh, and you've been here staying with different people in different sides of the world. Aye, because of network. So it's no my fault that I so happen to enjoy travelling and the people that I've met along that way, I've now got friends in nearly 20 different countries that I can go and stay with because and that's the type of person that I'm or with them is like I help them, they help me. Like that's the way I'm at. I would rather trade my time to do something and get accommodation, food, whatever it may be, than worry about money because money isn't everything. And as we know, we're going to be going down probably a digital currency route within the next few years. So your money that is valuable to you right now will mean nothing in a couple of years' time. So if you're basing your full life on money and materialistic things, that's when you'll be feeling depressed. The amount of people that I know that have everything on paper that they could want in life, but they're still depressed or whatever. No, because there is a void. So that's where you need to start looking at inwards and say, what is it I've no got in life on an emotional level, rather than what have I not got materialistically? Do you know what I mean?
And I suppose that's again, people need to take ownership of that as well. They need to realise that as well in anything in life that it's recognising it. And some people don't want it because they know that it's difficult. They know it's going to be hard. But do you know what? The decisions in life, the ones that change your life, aren't easy.
Nothing that's worth it in life comes easy. We know that.
No, it's not. And see, the thing is, as well, as I said to you, and you said earlier, no, but the networking and stuff like that, it's just when it comes to jobs as well. Obviously it's good to have the skill set. And that a lot of people will hire you just on the
Yes,
conversation
indeed.
with you, and do you know what? I can work with this person. I can actually because when you think about it, when you're doing a job, you've got 33% of your day, buddy, with that person or that company.
Interacting with them.
Right? So it's about having that good energy as well and that positivity as well because people pick up on that. Who wants to be surrounded by negativity in work? Obviously,
Yeah, I used to
no.
get it in the council. Because I used to go in about, say, it was like 8 o'clock start or something in the office, right? And I generally wake up happy, right? And I've had really low points in my life as well, which we can touch on later. But I've had low points in my life, and I've had points where I've felt suicidal and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But I got myself out of that hole, right, and out of that dark space to the point where I choose to be happy now. So people always just assume because my life's so great now and I'm so happy now, like I've not been through anything. We've all been through trauma. Every single person has been through stuff, right? But it's again on how people then live the rest of their life out. Whether you remain in that victim mindset or you go, do you know what? I don't want that. I want this in life. I'll wait till that plane's you know. But when I was in the council, so just generally happy. But sorry, I should be happy. But a comment I used to always get in work: "You're too happy," or "You're too happy for this time in the morning." The amount of people that would come in the door and have like, morning, blah, blah, and then they'd be like, I've not even woke up yet. You're too happy this time in the morning. And I'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, even after lunchtime, we would all hit a low or whatever. But at the time, like, I was doing like placement requests for schools, like enrollments and stuff like that. And obviously, you're needing them through quickly and stuff. And then I would be like, right, guys, let's do a Mexican wave. And they're like, what? And I was like, right, you start on that chair and then we'll all just do like the Mexican wave. And it's just a wee bit of fun. And they were just like looking at me like I was stupid. And I'm like, there's just so much low morale, but it's like a dominoes effect. And this is the same for your peers and who you're hanging about with.
Mm.
Look at your friendship group or look at your work group, right? If there's one negative person, that'll leach out, or like they say, like with fruit, right? You've got one bad apple, one bad banana, one bad orange, whatever it is. If one's fermenting, moulding, then the rest of them are going to get like that. So if you've got one negative, it only takes that one negative person round about you, and it then has that dominoes effect, and before you know it, everybody's sitting there miserable. Or alternatively, you can have that one happy person who you weren't even happy to start with, but now you've been getting a laugh with them, you actually feel so much better. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely. Honestly, Steph, it's crazy. Another similarity. I was the exact same. People are like,
Mm-hmm.
what's wrong with you? And you're like, what do you mean? What's wrong with you? I'm okay, I'm happy. I'm buzzing for the day. I mean, like, what's happening? Just what I don't know. But on the flip side of that as well, as you said, I used to get quite, it used to affect me a wee bit if people didn't say it, because I'm always just like, morning, morning.
If they don't say it back, you're like, how rude.
And you're like, what's wrong, man? What? Something,
Mm-hmm.
but as you said, but nah, you need that positive. It'll get you so much further. It'll change your total, because you're what you think. I mean, 100%. If you're going
100%.
to think put negative and stuff like that's how you're just going to be and come across.
If you wake up in the morning and a couple of things have happened, you fucking stubbed your toe or whatever, then you're like, oh, this is going to be a bad day. It will be a bad day because you just fucking said it's going to be a bad day. Whereas you get up, turn the music on, do a wee dance, then you go, I'm fucking ready for the day. You're going to be ready for the day. You're going to have a good day. And then even when bad things happen, sometimes I just laugh. See if like something bad's happening, I go, oh, for fuck's sake. And then I laugh at myself, which then I think I'm a fruitcake, right? But I just laugh and I go, of course that would happen to you. And then I go, right, there's no problems in life, there's just solutions. So I say, right, this problem's happened. What's the solution to it? Let's figure out how we're going to change it. And see if you can't change something. Well, you can't change it. So what's the point in being miserable about it? Do you know what I mean? Laugh. It is what it is. Like, just,
Moments
I
in
don't know.
time. That's it. So it is. Literally, everything's
Aye,
just a moment in time. And that's what I
exactly.
figured out recently. See, the last week, Steph, I've lost a phone, I've lost sunglasses, I've lost keys, all of my missus, because I forgot on me. I seen the old me used to get raging. I thought, oh man, I'm this, I'm that. But I've actually turned around. I would think to as you say, I started laughing. I'm like, what can I do?
Of course I have.
I,
What
I
can I
did it
do?
on purpose.
Exactly.
It's just who I am. And as I
But
say,
again, you'll probably find, see, whatever you've lost, there's going to be a reason why you've lost it. So whether that's that in time you move something and then you find that, but the thing that you've moved is significant, or the fact, like, say for example, you've lost your sunglasses, right? And it's going to be that you need to go and buy a new pair of sunglasses. Well, when you go into that shop to buy the new sunglasses, you're going to have an interaction with somebody that's going to create another effect in your life. Do you know what is it they call it, the butterfly effect or something?
that's exactly you described it perfectly. That's what I was going to
Hmm.
say.
Hmm.
It's like almost when these things happen to you, they're a pain in the ass at the time. You're like,
Hmm.
know what I mean? But as you said, you don't know where that's going to lead you. It's literally a a life changing moment in your life can be something as losing a pair of sunglasses because you
Hmm.
don't know what
Hmm.
opportunity that's going to be, and it's having that mindset as well. Aye, it's frustrating and stuff like that, but
Hmm.
it's meant to be. It's just things are just
Exactly.
it's who you are. It's like I think
100%.
it's an ingredient of you, isn't it? Almost that kind of that trait
Definitely.
of losing stuff and that, and that's what
Hmm.
makes up the good stuff, the crazy stuff. And
I used to leave myself post-its, like, see when I was back in Scotland, it did get to a point where I'm like, right, this is not right. And my ma's always like laughing at me about forgetting stuff because I always leave stuff at her house. And I don't know, many times for work, I would leave my house keys at work and I would walk home and it'd be like an hour's walk home and then I'd go and I would need to go away back up and stuff like that. And I started doing post-its for myself, or I had a window ledge right at my stairs. So I used to start leaving stuff. And then anybody that come up to see me, they're like, why is there like a fucking fridge on your window ledge? Oh, because I need to remember to do this and do that. But it's mad because everything that does happen, I'll tell you an example, right? So when I first went away travelling, when I was 17, and I went to Thailand, right? So I was there for 3 months, and a lot happened in the 3 months. But one thing that happened was the tsunami had taken place, right? During, I think it was like the first month, right? So we went there the end of October, so I done November, December, January there, right? So in November, I went with my two cousins. In November, my cousins wanted to go away travelling, right? Within Thailand. So I was like, do you know what? I can't be asked. I mean, I was just happy on the island, right? We got to know there was like all these different bars. There was like all guys working in it. So I'd got to know all the guys. I was all pally with them. all the shop staff and everything, you got to know everybody because it's just like a wee village. At that time, that wasn't quite busy with tourists, right? So I felt comfortable, safe enough, whatever. So I says, look, you two go away travelling, blah, blah, blah. So they went away. I think they went away for about a week or something like that, a few days. They came back, they had a great time, blah, blah, blah. So that was fine. So we had discussed that we were all going to go away for Christmas and New Year. So there was places that we spoke about, blah, blah, blah. So when it came close to that point, I says to them, listen, I said, I'm not going to go away. I was like, I can't be arsed. I was like, blah, blah, blah. I says, I just want to stay here. Like, we've only got a month left. I just want to chill. And they're like, no. And I said, just choose go. It'll be fine. Again, like, I was all right last time. And like, no, we felt dead guilty last time. Like, leaving you and all that, like, we don't want to do it. And I was like, no, I don't want to hold you back. If you want to do it, blah, blah. Anyway, so it turns out the place that they were going to go to was affected by the tsunami. So if they did go there, then they would have been affected by it. And they only stayed because I didn't want to go travelling. So there's been moments like that that's happened a lot to me in life, and I'm thinking there's been a reason why I've not done it. And again, like that, if we did all go, like that could have been detrimental. Do you know what I mean? So there's reasons, and I do try and listen to my intuition a lot more now as I'm getting older, because I always get signs and I always get feelings about stuff, about people, and you'll be the same. It's like something not right about them, but you just go like, oh, you're just overthinking that, but it's been right every time.
No, I get that as well. What you're saying, I don't know. It's just you just sense. It's just a sense in it. It's almost
Hmm.
just like sometimes it's just as simple as how they answer or how they move their face. For me, anyway, because I'm
Mm.
similar. Many times I'd say to somebody, "Well, look, be careful there. He's a bit that
Mhm.
can't they're fine." Like, and they'll
You're
come
like,
back and
don't
say,
know,
"No,
don't know.
we're bang on." But no, different life would have been then. Who knows what would have happened if you went that place as well? Because that was a bad one, wasn't it? That one, tsunami. It's horrid, man. 2000 and
It, 2004, I think it was.
six, man.
But and then even there, when I was in Thailand, there the earthquake had happened that affected Bangkok, and again because with the earthquakes, then there can be the aftermath of tsunamis and stuff like that, and you just think, and again, I was lucky that I wasn't in Bangkok at that moment in time, and blah blah blah, and you just think like, there's a reason why everything that you're doing in life, there'll be a reason why you're there at that moment in time, whatever that's trying to teach you. And if you do become like us, where you are more open minded to things and you start listening to your intuition and you stop being in that fear mindset, like you'll start to get signs for the universe, or even ask the universe for signs. Like if there's something that you want. So I'll give you an example as well, right? So before, I made a video on TikTok last summer where I said, it's like, I think it was last July, June or July, right? And I said it's 6 months until my birthday, which was in January. 6 months until you're 38, Stephanie. How do you want your life to look at 38? And I said, well, I don't want to be living in Scotland, that's for sure. And I says, well, will you be living abroad? And I said, so in 6 months' time, I want to be living abroad. In 6 months' time, I want to be earning a certain amount, blah, blah, blah. In 6 months' time, I want to have lost weight, blah, blah, blah. And everything that I said in that video last year has happened, because I've put it out there to the universe, and I've manifested that. So whatever, it's not, you might not be somebody who can manifest things overnight. Like you can't say, well, it might be strong enough, but for you to say, oh, I want £1 million tomorrow, like it might be unachievable. But also it could be for you to say that you want to be a millionaire in your lifetime is no unattainable. I think a lot of us that come through the scheme seem to have this glass ceiling above ourselves where we feel like we can only get to a certain level, and it shouldn't be. There's no reason why anybody through the scheme can't become a millionaire, and you don't need to do that through selling drugs, kids, by the way. You can do that through legit ways. But there's like, whatever it is that you want in life, whether it's materialistic or no, set, whether you do a vision board or you set goals for yourself, put it out to the universe and say it, and then actually think about it and say, right, how am I going to get there, and start making a plan to do it. It's the same like with solo traveling, whatever it is, you've done it as well, like moving abroad with your family. It's like, if you really want to do something, if somebody wants to go on holiday, they're going to save for the holiday, they're going to limit the nights out they go, they're going to limit the takeaways they buy, because that's their priority. So whatever it is in life that you want to make a priority, then you will. So whatever you want in life, you can get, literally. You can have anything you want in life, you just need to make it a priority in your mindset. And once it becomes a priority, then it's going to be achievable.
Definitely. I think a key word as well is just being accountable as well, isn't it? And just like, you know, this is what I want. So if I want it to happen, it's only me. Again, we spoke about it. It's me. It's going to make it happen. It's going to me. It's going to have to start. And I've heard that before. Writing stuff doing that, because when you're writing it, doing it's almost bringing it to life. It's bringing it that spark.
Aye, putting weight behind it, and people will say, "Oh, but it's all right for you. It's all right." Everybody's in different circumstances. We're not saying that everything can be achieved overnight, but regardless of, like, even, right, so people can say to me, "Oh, it's all right for you because you've no kids. That's why you can go travelling." Right, well, look at John. So he's got kids, so he done it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, so everybody likes to make excuses, and taking accountability. And people will also say they rely on other people or other things to make them happy. And it's like, you are in control of your own happiness. You can't rely on anybody else to make you happy. And I've even felt like that in, like, relationships where, like, you've got somebody who might have low mental health, right? And you'll do whatever you can to help them, and, you know, and you can try and assist them in different ways. Like, but ultimately, they need to help themselves. Like, they need to take accountability and say, like, what is it you're not happy about in life, and how are you going to change it? Because I can give you everything that you could possibly want in life and you can still be miserable. So it's down to you to take that accountability and say you're going to create your own happiness. Like, it's down to you to do the work. Like, if you're an adult, like, it's down to you. You can't sit there waiting for things to happen. Nothing's going to come to you on a plate. You need to get there and get it yourself.
100%. And it's just what you said there as well. Like, when I was younger, I was just always buzzing to be an adult, but nobody actually tells you being an adult's difficult. It's hard. I mean, you're still on
Mhm.
your own 2 feet. You've got responsibilities.
Mhm.
Even if you've not got kids and stuff like that, you've got other responsibilities. You've got
Of
a life
course.
to make. Do you know what I mean? And as you say, you're in charge of that. And it's only recently that I've started to understand that stuff, because I've been that kind of person where I've tried to always be there for people. I've tried to help people out, and I've tried to try and do this, do that, and see if they're not in that place and I don't want to be there. It's like you're literally wasting your time, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And
It's like
and
talking
that's
to a
the
brick
hard
wall.
thing. When you've got, especially when you've got that emotional baggage included with it as well. They say you really shouldn't, because when you're emotionally attached, it's just you're just constantly drawn into the same promises, the same. Um,
Mhm.
It's almost like make believe, isn't it? Like you live in a wee fantasy. You're like, oh, but if I did it this time, it might, and they might get better, and they might be happy. But it's no, and it's only, as I say, it's only recently I've realised that you can't. Some people you just can't help. Unfortunately, they need to be able to
That's it.
help
Help
themselves.
themselves. And the thing is like you're saying, as much as you want to help them, and if they don't, if they don't take accountability, and they don't say, right, actually, what help do I need? Like, even like, you, like, I could have partners who've, like, lost their job or whatever, right? And I'm like, right, I'll get you a job. I'll get you a job tomorrow. Boom. And I say, those looking for, I'll put a status on my Facebook. Anybody looking for this type of person, blah blah blah. They'll come out, aye, I need a labourer, I need a painter decorator, I need this, I need that. And then I'll be like, right, my pal can give you a job tomorrow. And then they'll say, but something, something, something. And I'm like, you're sitting there depressed because you can't get work. I've got you a job that you can start tomorrow, but you're making excuses. So stop making fucking excuses for things in life. Like, if you want something, go and get it. Stop making excuses why you can't do it. It doesn't matter about your age, what gender you are, whatever, your circumstances, it doesn't matter. You can literally live, like, even like body wise, right? So I'm going for a weight loss journey the new. There's nothing stopping me becoming a bodybuilder next year. The only person that stopped me becoming a bodybuilder next year is me. So I've got an aim now where this year I'm going to, like, finish the rest of my weight loss, and then next year I'm going to train, and I'm going to go and do a bodybuilding competition just for a mental challenge for myself. And people are like, that, there's no chance you're going to do it. No, but see, with that attitude, that's going to motivate me even more to go and do it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, haters are my biggest motivators. See, anybody that says to me, I can't do something, half the time I'm like, am I even doing this for myself, or am I doing that to prove them wrong? Because I
Uh,
will go and do it. I done I've Vipassana, a meditation course, which is a long topic to go on, right? But basically it's a course where you go, you're not allowed to speak for 10 days. Me, no speaking for 10 days, I know, guys, it's hard to believe. I wasn't allowed to talk for 10 days. I wasn't allowed to make eye contact with anybody I still struggle now actually making eye contact because I wasn't allowed to make eye contact with anybody. You would wake up at 4 a.m, you had to sleep on the floor, there was all these different things, and you were doing like all this meditation work to the point where like it was touching on your senses where they were being heightened. And I did actually get a heightened sense of smell now, which is probably annoying because now I'm like a dog. I'm like, oh, I can smell this, I can sit and list everything. But see when you're there, and you get your phone taken off you on day one as well, so you're not allowed contact with the outside world. You're not allowed to speak to anybody else that's there. So you're literally sitting in your own head for all this time. And I tell you, like, I found it so hard to switch off. I was getting business idea after business idea, and there was people crying, right? There's males there and there's females there, and they're sobbing their heart out, and you can't console them, and you can't do anything. And that's where it says to me, actually, you can't do anything to help these people. They need to help themselves. Like, everybody's here on their own journey. Like, you can't do anything. Nothing you say is going to help them in that moment, whether they're missing family, whether they're thinking about whatever's happened in their life. And everybody's been through whatever it is they've been through in life. And like I said, you need to just take ownership and be saying, right, well, how am I going to move forward for this? How am I going to create the life that I want? So if you're sitting there at home and you're watching this and you're saying, I want to do this as a job, or if it is materialistic, I want to get this house, I want to get this car or whatever, write it down. Write it down, put it on your vision board and say, right, look at it every single day and then write steps. How am I going to get there? Now, whether it's in a year time, 5 year time or 10 year time, write a plan. Right, well, I want to have this house that's $250,000. I've got 5 grand in the bank. How am I going to get that? Right, well, actually, this is how I'm going to do it, blah, 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 blah. In 5 years' time, you've now got 150 grand. In 10 years' time, you've now got 250. Probably too too expensive to buy at that point, but do you know what I mean? Setting goals for yourself, even personal goals, you don't need to tell anybody them. You can just write them down to yourself and say, right, that's what I'm going to do. Because you just need to get out that fear bubble and say, if I want to do something in life, I'm going to go and do it.
Yeah. Just what you're saying as well, like keeping it to yourself, that's a good bit of advice as well, innit? Because sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves, especially if you're not, just using a weight loss, and for example, if you're not hitting any goals and you're not seeing any change, because when it comes to weight loss, it is difficult. You don't see the results. That's a perfect example. You don't see the results. It's the turning up all the time, and that's what it's like. That's what it's like. That's what it's like when you're wanting goals as well. I'm going to say something like, I know honestly this things, because a lot of time people know what they need to do. They know that this is what I need to do, and it comes to that saying, into easier said than done, into it. But sometimes it takes people to get to that point where, do you know what, I can't live like this anymore. To get to that breaking point, they're like, it actually, they need to get to that point to where, and that's where you want to be able to get to there before, because that can make or break you as well.
And sometimes people do need to go through certain stuff because, or even like when it comes to relationships and all that. Like I'll have some exes or whatever, like that. The old saying, like, they don't know what they've got till it's gone, and it's true. It's like maybe in that moment in time in their life, they didn't appreciate what they had, or they weren't ready to settle down, whatever it may be, right? And then years down the line, I'll get contacted for my exes, and maybe then I'll get an apology, or maybe then they'll be like, "Ah, look, I didn't realise this," and blah blah blah. And I'll sit and say to them, "That's fine," and then I'll say to them, "This is what I think you should work on." I'll sit and give my ex's advice and I'll say, well, like, this is how I found the relationship. And I'm very open with communication. I feel like I sit and literally say, no guy sitting there thinking, what did I do that annoyed her? Oh, I'll tell you. If you've done something, I'll say, this is what I'm not happy with. That. Because I think communication is key with people. A lot of people will not say like how they're feeling or how they're truly feeling. And whether that's to friends, to family, and whatever situation it is like, just be more open with your communication, because actually, and even saying to somebody, your friend might come to you who is down, right? And what you can say to them at that moment and say is, do you want me to listen or do you want advice? Because sometimes they might just want an ear to listen to them, and they don't want you to say stuff, because in the back of their head, for example, say your pal's in a toxic relationship and you're like, mate, get her to fuck, she's this, she's that. They know it in their heart, but they're in love with her and they don't want to leave or whatever. So rather than you saying, like, whatever, just be like, yeah, right, mate, do you want advice here, or do you want me to just listen? They might be like, yeah, oh, going to just let me vent for a minute, and just let them, just let your pals vent. And again, this is where we're talking the topic about opening up, like being open with your communication to people and about you. It's going to help your mental health get better, and focusing on what it is that you're not happy about in your life and putting a plan in place to how you're going to change it. All these little things are going to help with your mental health. So if you are struggling with mental health, reach out to somebody, do the inner work that's needed, and try and get yourself to a place where you do wake up happy, because you shouldn't have you shouldn't be a person that comes and says to me or John, "Oh, you's only why you's so happy." We've been through stuff as well. That doesn't mean that we need to live in that place in time. We are then changing our mindset to now live in the present moment and say, no, do you know what? I'm grateful for where I am in life right now. And this is what I want in the future. You might not be where you want to be in life, but you can be happy in that moment, in the present moment, and just be like, no, I'm just going to sit here and appreciate what I do have. And the things that I do want to obtain, I'll get there. But do you know what? Right now, if we look at our life right now, John, right, for where we've came from in the scheme, to now thinking you're living in New Zealand, I'm now in Australia. Life's good, regardless of everything that might be going wrong in our life. Like, life is good. Do you know what I mean? And there's people back home that are saying, "I wish I was living abroad." I'll say, go and do it. Put a plan in place and do it. Whether it's going somewhere for a couple of weeks, going somewhere for a month, seeing how you like it, and then saying, right, and go back home. Because I might do that. I might go back home this month, next month, and then put it in a plan and say, where do I actually want to live? Right, I'm going to go home, do some things to then make that a reality.
Going back a wee bit there, talking about your pals and that and stuff like that, it's like anything in life, everything's about approach, innit? How we approach a situation, and communication is a big key when it comes to approach, because if you get in there guns blazing, you know what you've got to do, you know you're setting up the guard up, you're putting their guard up straight away, isn't it? Perfect, as you said there. It's like, do you want me to give advice or do you want me to listen? Because 9 times out of 10, when people are coming to you, they're trying to open up. Do you know what I mean? And if you shoot them down straight away, you're just so it's about approach, definitely. How you approach it.
Like, and being the type of person who is open to hearing your pals and not making your pals feel like your pals. Like, I've had many guys cry in front of me, and I think it's such a strong, like, part of their personality. Like, see, when a guy is vulnerable, that to me is attractive, and people can be like, pussy, he's greeting or whatever. And I think, like, no, see, when somebody can open up emotionally to you, that's them letting you in. That's you as a person and feel safe. So if somebody feels like they can come to you, that you know that you're a safe person. If you've got no friends coming to you asking for advice, asking for anything, the chances are that people don't find you a safe person. So even working on yourself to be like, actually, no, none of my pals they really come to me for anything, or maybe I'm no giving off that energy that they can talk to me, but they can talk to me, but maybe you've never said that to them. So maybe it's a case of, like, you need to say to your pals, mate, whether it's lasses or guys who are watching this, like, just being more open to your friends and be like, rather than slagging them or whatever, like, if it is a serious subject matter, like, of course we can try and see the fun in it, right? But letting them open up to you, and don't be a shite pal. Like, for me, see, if I'm not even friends with somebody, or if I'm finished a relationship or whatever happened in that relationship, say dead or whatever, I'm not going to, and I'm not telling people this, that, people's business. Like, see, if somebody's opening up to you on an emotional level and telling you anything about their trauma or whatever, and you use that against them, you are a fucking shitty person. So if somebody feels safe enough to open up to you, like, have that decency to respect that and no go about and say, they came to me about this, about that, whether it's about a relationship or whatever. And another thing, if somebody vents to you about something that's happening in their relationship, this is for anybody who's watching, if somebody opens up to you about something that's happening in their relationship, do not mention that to their partner. That is, like, the most stupidest thing you can do. Like previously in my life, I had went through domestic violence and stuff like that, right? And my partner would take my phone and go through my phone and whatever, right? Sometimes I wouldn't even have my phone or whatever. And, and I had friends who were aware of this was going on for me, right? But you're so tied up in the situation, and I'm very outspoken. And like I say, I've got a big family and everything. People get, why did you stay or whatever? And you stay ultimately because you love the person and you're trying to help them. You're trying to do what you can. Like, I had people who would then say, oh, like, I know you're reading her messages or whatever, and you're just like, that's the worst thing you can do, because then that's actually just adding fuel to the fire, where they've said that throwaway comment, but that's then left me in another situation, do you know what I mean? So it's things like that. Like if somebody's coming to you about something in their relationship that's going on with a partner, and sometimes we're guilty that we tell everybody the bad things because you're venting to your pals, but you don't tell them all the good things. So I've had plenty of my pals who've came to me venting, and now I've just got an idea that your partner has been an absolute prick and I fucking hate them, do you know what I mean? But I would never say that and I would never be like that in their company, but I'll think that in my head. But then they forget to tell you the good things. So you're only hearing their side of the story. And then maybe when you actually talk to the partner they'll say a different thing and you're thinking, well, now I can maybe see why they were that way. But if you've got friends who are opening up to you, try and be a safe space for them. Try and let them vent to you. And if it is something to do with relationships, if your guy pal comes to you and says, oh, the missus doesn't let me out and she doesn't do this and blah, 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 and then you're in her company and you say, you never let him out, he told us this, he told us that, they're going to go home and have an argument, so don't fucking do that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Why not?
exactly. Mm. But because of where we've grown up, John, it is a case of where everybody's trying to put a front on, and that's for all aspects that we've spoke about in the podcast, where it's like, whether it is materialistic things, right? So you've got all these people for the scheme that are out there and they're spending their money on designer clothes, for example, right? If they're not getting them off a shoplifter. But if they're going out and buying that, right, you know they've not got £300 to spare on trainers. Do you know what I mean? Or they'll buy that one thing and then they're skint for fucking a month after it. And you're like, what are you bought the trainers for one post? For people to see it and go, oh, like the amount of kids I know, the kids are wanting this and they're wanting that. And you're thinking, these are off of the same scheme. We know that everybody's deprived here. We know that nobody's thriving because we're in that mindset. And it's like, stop living above your means. Like, stop trying to impress people that you don't even like. Stop it. Like, start focusing on yourself. See, rather than trying to impress everybody else, why don't you try and impress yourself? Why don't you be somebody that you're happy to see in the mirror every morning? Not on a physical level, but on a mental level where you're thinking, no, actually, I'm a good dad, brother, sister, daughter, whatever it may be. Just say, like, I'm proud of myself for what I've achieved. I'm proud of myself for what I've came to. Be in a position where you're just like, I'm going to focus on the inner work. And we know this, I know, like, it is hard. Like, we are even working on our own self-love and self-worth and everything else like that, because we pour that much into other people's cups that we then leave ourselves depleted. And it's like, actually, all this energy that we are giving to other people, imagine if we gave that energy to ourselves. Imagine if we gave ourselves all the stuff that we give to other people. You'd be fucking thriving. Do you know what I mean? So does come a point in life where you say, do you know what, you need to be selfish. And even if you're a parent, you need to be saying, right, of course you want to give your kids everything, but see, if you're pouring for an empty cup, then your kids are looking at you and you're always shattered because you're working too much and you're like always moaning because the house is a mess or whatever. Set them chores. So Waynes don't need to be spoiled to the point. When we were younger, because I was 10 in our house, we had a chore chart. Like, I was to wash the dishes, my sisters to dry them. Everybody had something that they needed to do. Didn't bother me. I was out working in the chippy when I was like 14, fucking, I was going straight after school. Like, I'd finish school 3:30, I'd start in the job at 4 o'clock and finish at midnight. And the next day I used to go to school with like 15 quid and thinking, yes man, I can go and buy this. And I used to go to school in Bishopbriggs, which was a more affluential area than Springburn, where I was fae. So they kids always had more money than what us Springburn kids did. And I used to be like, I remember days where I couldn't afford to go and get that for lunch. Like, they would go down the cross and buy stuff for lunch, but I couldn't afford that. So I would go to the ice cream van and you would be probably getting like sweeties rather than getting a proper decent lunch. And then when I started in the chippy and I was like, yeah, to my ma, you don't need to give me money anymore. I've got fucking 7 siblings, you know. I said, you don't need to give me money anymore, make mine money. So I'd be like, can I have my money? I'm like, I can buy whatever I want. And I love that feeling to be able to provide for myself, do you know what I mean? And I think that's why I'm so independent now, because I struggle to like, I struggle, like, I've never had anybody like pay my bills and do all this for me, because I've always been in that mindset where I'm like, no, because if I get it for myself, nobody can ever say, you wouldn't have that if it wasn't for me. So I know that I need to, moving forward, even in a relationship, I do need to step more into my feminine side and be more submissive, where I'm saying, right, I'll let you take care of me. Like, I can't always be the one taking care of a guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I need to say, right, you know, but then again, that when it comes into the guy needs to be secure enough in himself where he is assertive and says, no, sit the fuck down, hen, I've got this, or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that kind of power, kind of imbalance where I know that I need to. So I'm still looking at myself and I'm still like trying to do my own self development and working on myself and saying, where are my flaws when it comes to friendship? Like, I'm really bad for getting back to people, and I'm really bad for leaving messages unread until I'm in a space where I can read them and reply. So for me, I don't think there's anything wrong with leaving a message unread for days and then come back and I'm like picking up where I left off, and my pals are like, I've not heard from you in fucking 2 years, and I'm like, ah, I know, so what's happening? And but my pals are all like that. Like, doesn't matter how long we go, we know there's no love lost there. Like, we can just pick up where we started, and we all have that. We don't say, I've not heard from her. We're just like that when we hear from them. Oh, brilliant! Like, what's happening? Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of the ones where you just need to like, you do the inner work and like say, right, what do I need to work on myself to get myself where I want to be in life, emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever it may be, and just focus on yourself, guys. Like, because do you know what? We're born alone and we'll die alone. So
Mm.
you need to work on yourself and become the person that you want to be.
So, because for other people to see that good, the better person you are, it comes from yourself. If you want to
Hmm.
be the best parent, you want to be the best partner, it needs to be the relationship needs to start with yourself. Isn't it?
Hmm.
It's like,
Hmm.
and when you're talking about like you maybe having to, you were saying maybe more feminine and stuff like that. But the thing
Hmm.
is, that's all you know. Just to go on with what you're saying is the only what's happened in the past. If your guard will be up, do you know what I mean, and
Of
stuff like that.
course, of course. And that's the thing, and it's where it's like you're like, especially us again coming for the scheme. It's like you do grow up so much of your life in survival mode, and it's like, well, actually, what we need to then always need to step into our more emotional sides and be like, you don't need to have a barrier up. You don't need to put this front on, because so many people in Glasgow like have this front, because you see it when people are walking about as well, where it's like they're walking about like this masculine, and whether this is a female or male, and they're walking about in their masculine energy and they're being like, it's almost like there's a front on, and you'll find that, I know, when you go travelling and you're away somewhere, nobody's like that. Like, you don't,
Just
I
being
like, everybody says to me, was it safe where you are? And I'm thinking, I grew up in fucking Springburn in Postal. Like, I get safe where I'm at. It's absolutely fine. Actually, Glasgow's the murder capital of Europe at one point. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm actually fine walking down the street here at 4 a.m. Do you know what I mean? It's like where we came from is, that is your upbringing, and it has moulded you into the person you are to this day. But at the same time, we all do need to remember in the scheme that things like being emotional and like letting your guard down is almost like frowned upon. But that's again came from our older generation. So us as a generation need to say, do you know what? That's all bullshit. Like, this is why, because back in our day, like, mental health wasn't spoke about.
mm,
Mental health wasn't a priority. Like, even diagnosis and so many things. Even like, for example, I feel like I've got undiagnosed ADHD. I was just told as I went, oh, she's easily distracted. But really, no, actually, maybe if you made the lesson more entertaining, I would have maybe been a bit more engaged. Do you know what I mean? And it's things like that where when we were younger, there wasn't all this. So the fact is that there is so much help readily available now. I would say to people, like, use that to your advantage. So if you feel you do need help, speak to your GP and say to them, I don't want medicated, I want therapy. And go and get the help. Like, say if you need to go through 2 months of therapy, 6 months of therapy, 2 years of therapy, so be it, but it'll teach you so much about yourself. Know that I've done therapy. I went to college and I done an introduction to counselling course where, I picked up some skills and stuff like that. But I'm open to doing the inner work. So if you're not open to do the inner work, I would say if you go to therapy, then you might be able to open up to somebody who you don't know. Or there's things like there's like helplines back home as well, so that if you don't want to speak to your friends because you don't want to be vulnerable in front of anybody, like call one of the lines, the helplines that you can speak freely to. Because we've all had friends, who've like took their own lives and stuff like that. And I've even, was it last year, the year before, in Springburn it happened actually. Like, me and my pal from Manchester, we were driving again, but the butterfly effect, right? I'll just quickly tell you a story. So me and him were going out for lunch, right? So we're driving at one point in Springburn, right? and we were either we were supposed to take a left to go into town to go for something to eat, right? And I think Celtic were playing or something as well, right? So we were supposed to take a left, but he went into the right lane because he didn't know where he was, right? He took the right lane, which then would have led us down Springburn Road, which then you could kind of go out the West End, right? So as he's took the right lane, I said, it's fine, we'll just leave the town, we'll go out the West End. Again, about the butterfly effect. So as we're driving down, like, Hawthorne kind of way, right, there's a bridge at Springburn Leisure Centre, there's a bridge before the Salvation Army, right? And there was this boy standing at the bridge, right? And he was just kind of looking out at the traffic down below. So I know, because I'm from that area, it's no all you're looking at is traffic, so that you're not looking at anything that's a view like a sunset or anything, right? So again, following your intuition. So something inside me told me something wasn't quite right, and I was like, they shouldn't be. And this was like a Sunday as well, and I know a lot of people's mental health takes a dip or weekends or whatever, right? So I was like, there's something about that doesn't sit right with me. And I said I would hate that if we drove away and something happened. So I was like that to my pal. I says, Dare Burley. And he's like, what? Because there's like an island in the middle of the road, right? So I was like, Dare Burley. I says, I need to go and ask that person if they're all right. I said, I would rather look like a fucking idiot going to ask somebody if they're all right than leave that situation and something happens. So he's like, oh, what you like with his Manchester accent, right? And he's like, oh, fucking hell, woman, whatever. So he's done a Burley. As he's done a Burley, and we've just got up, the guys went to step up on the bridge. So I've just jumped at the motor. The motor's still driving, I've fucking jumped out, and I've just grabbed them down off the bridge. Right, so then we're talking to him, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? Like, what's happening? And he was a wee bit younger than me. So he's just telling me stuff that's happened in his life, and he didn't have a job, he didn't have this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, you're coming out with us today. So I just basically hijacked this boy, and I just took him out with us this day, right? So when out, we had something to eat and all that, and he was supposed to go and meet his dad that day, and I says to him, I says, how do you think your dad would have felt when you never turned up to meet him and stuff like that? I says, so you're sit. I says, there is people who love you, there's people who care about you. And I ended up messaging the boy for months after that, and like that, I was trying to get him a job, and I was trying to do all these different stuff for him. And then he would, slip back into that depression, and he would message me and he would reach out. But like that, you can only help people. You can only like let them help themselves. Like I can be there as much, but I can't be there every day. Like I've got other stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Your life
You,
to
you, aye, you can only do it. Do you know what I mean? But there's things like that where you do think to yourself, and I've had other friends who've committed suicide and all that, and you go like, if only I'd done this, if only I'd done that. But see, realistically, it doesn't matter what you would have done. Like if that person's
in that place.
deciding to do that, aye, and that's what we're trying to do, is prevent people from doing that. So if you are feeling depressed, if you're feeling it, please speak to somebody about it. And if you don't want to speak to your friends about it, either reach out to a helpline or speak to your GP. Tell them that you don't want medication, that you want therapy, and whether you're on the waiting list for another 3 months, but just say to yourself, well, it's either waiting for 3 months to go and get the help you need, or going through another 3 years feeling the way you feel.
Mm-hmm. You see, the thing is that, and obviously, you obviously have sympathy for people, because it must be so hard when you think that's your only way out.
Exactly.
Your life can change literally in a heartbeat. It's something I spoke about before in this podcast. It's that power of conversation. Just having that courage to talk out, and just because when people are in that place, and I think it's just they can't see a way out. But it's again, it's
100%.
like anything in life. It's just these small steps into it. It's owning it, and realizing that there is other ways. It's horrible to think
100%.
about it. It's a horrible thought to think that people think that that's their only way.
And I've done it myself. Now, like I said, when I was going through that situation where I was going through domestic violence, we lived in like the top of a flat. You know that way where the lift only goes so high, and you need to go up another flight of stairs. And I remember at the time, which obviously sounds mental, but I remember at the time where I used to say, if I just flung myself out of this balcony, all this would stop, blah blah blah. And you know the thing that stopped me at that point when I was feeling so low, because obviously, obviously in a rational way of thinking, but what actually stopped me again was my empathy, because I was thinking about me. But I says, no, that's no fair, because if anybody walks out this flat, they need to see that body. Like, that's no fair on your family, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't thinking about myself at that moment. I was thinking about other people, even in that moment of fucking despair. So I understand why people can get to that situation. But what I also say is, now in my life, like obviously in the darkness, you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But now in my life, I want to do anything to prolong my life. Like, I want to live until I'm like over 100. And I'm thinking, like, in my early 20s, I can't believe that I was even in that mindset when I thought that. And sometimes when I tell people certain bits of my life or stories or whatever, and they're thinking, like, oh, I didn't know you went through stuff like that, or blah. Well, just because I don't present like that this day, but I'm not a victim of what happened. Like, obviously, like, you feel empathy for that person that's even in the situation where you're like, whatever, but it's like, but it's in the past. Like, stop focusing on things that happened in the past because you can't change it. Worry about your present and think like, what am I going to do today that's going to help my future self? So, like that, I was in a really dark place, but now I'm living my best life. I could do more stuff in life. There's still things I want to accomplish. I'm not saying I've got it all made or whatever, but I'm happy now and I make myself happy and I choose to be happy. And I'm at a point now where I never want life to end and I want to fucking live forever. So you'll go through stages. It's not a bad life, like you said earlier. It's not a bad life. It's just a bad moment in life. So whatever it is that you are going through, things will get better. But you need to put the thing in place to get the motion going where you say, right, how am I going to get out of this situation? Whether it's work, relationships, whatever it is, you say to yourself, right, whether that is, right, I need to speak to somebody outside this situation, whether it's if you're wanting a new job, start applying for new jobs. Whilst you're in that job, start applying, see what else is out there, whether it's you want to retrain, try and get a night course, try and get a weekend course that you can reskill, upskill, whatever it is that you want to do. But trust me, guys, like, that is not the way to go. Like, life is so precious and life is so short, and what you need to think to yourself is, imagine somebody who's got a terminal illness, right? All they're hoping for is one mere minute on earth, and we all take life for granted. Sometimes I do wake up in the morning and I go, like, I'm blessed to have another day on earth. Like, we never know when it's our last day, like, so we should just be seizing every opportunity we can, every moment that we've got, and be like, this is fucking life. Like, shit happens in life, of course, but try and see the good and stuff and see, do you know what? What is this trying to teach me? What have I learned for this? Do you know what I mean? And just choose to be happy. Like, you're responsible for your own happiness. You are the author of your own book. This is your life up to this chapter. Like, I'm 38, right? So let's say I'm through half my book. I've still got another half of my book to write. I've still got a full new chapter that's the best times in your life still to happen. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you don't even know what's in the future for you. Like, so just sit in this present moment and say, right, this is where I'm at. Things might have happened in the past, things might be going on right now, but guess what? This is how I want my future to look, and this is how I'm going to get there. There's a wee bit of motivational speaking for you, Santa.
I suppose, Steph, it's almost like having that the cup's half full mentality into it. Listen, there's always things in your life that's challenging you. Everybody's got to be spoke about it. But as you said, it's reminding yourself what you have got. Do you know what I mean? You've got life. You've got the ability to walk. You've got your health. They're things that people would literally, I mean, give everything for. But we forget that, don't we? When we have that comparison and we start looking at other people, and as you're saying, it's true. We've got to look into ourselves and go, look, like, what have I got? What do I want? What have I got? And what can I use to get to where I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And another question as well. See, you're saying then about, like, you're talking about, like, the how you were feeling when you're in that dark place and stuff like that. Do you ever feel like when now that you're like your garden and you've spoke about that, you feel like more people can talk to you about that kind of stuff as well, and not even just that, just anything that's personal?
Aye, 100%. No, I have always been somebody who likes to. My friends, they come to me, which I'm more grateful about, because I've got so many friends who I know that they don't go to the other people in the friendship group. So see, to be somebody that people they come to now, especially, and what they always say to me is, I don't feel like you're judging me. Because I'm more so open minded and I've been through some shit. And a lot of time as well, when I say about my undiagnosed ADHD, what we'll do is that I might say a story, like somebody might be saying something, right? And I don't mean to butt in, but I know that, like, I say something because I think that I'm going to forget it. Or I might say a story and it's not about, oh, I went to Tenerife, I went to 11 Reef. It's that I'm trying to, like, put across to that person that I understand, because I might have been through something similar, or like, so that I'm empathetic or sympathetic towards it. Like, I can get how you were feeling. Like, of course, you don't know how somebody's feeling and everybody experiences things differently, but Like, it's like that you have similar stories, and it could be like, oh, well, this happened, and I get where you're coming through with that. So I feel that because I let my guard down and I can talk about that, and I don't pure talk about all my experiences to everybody or whatever, but like people who know me close, and sometimes I don't even, people the closest to me don't know the full story, because I feel like it's hurtful for them to hear things as well. Do you know what I mean? Again, you're even protecting them, because it's like, well, actually, I wouldn't go too deep with some of the things that I did experience, because like it's no nice for them to hear. Again, like, but I'm at peace with all that stuff. Like, that's in the past. Again, even with the person in question, like, it's there's no bad blood there. Like, whatever. Like, I want them, and that's what I used to even say at the time. Like, I just want them to get the help, because again, like you're saying, hurting people hurt, and it's, again, you're looking at that and you're thinking, right, why are they doing that? So even looking at that objectively, be thinking, right, this might be actually physically happening to me, but being empathetic, like, actually, what is that person going through in their head? Like, they need help, and they went and got that help or whatever. Like, and I don't speak to that person or anything anymore, but that's just like a situation, obviously, that I've been in. But when it comes to it, I'm more grateful that I do have friends who they come to me and they speak about things sober, and they reach out to me. And again, it's like, if you just always kind of keep that in mind, like letting your friends know that yous are there, and if you don't hear from them, like, maybe just, even if they've not reached out to you, because everybody's going through stuff in their own life, and a lot of people go into that victim mindset. I've not heard from my pal in so long, and this, that, next thing. But do
Why?
you know what they're going through?
Why?
Aye, do you know what I mean? Why do you think you've not heard from them? And it could just be that your lives are in the way. People have got their own families. This is, like, for me, like, all my pals are settled down with kids, married, whatever, right? So that's why I'm so independent, solo travelling, whatever. A lot of the time, I don't even ask my pals to do anything, because I just assume they're doing stuff with their family. If it's a nice day, I'm not going to phone my pals and say, what are you doing? Because I know in my head they'll be going to the beach with their kids or whatever. So I'll get up and I'll go and do something myself, and I don't even think to ask them. And sometimes I used to say it on TikTok or Facebook. I used to just get up and put on a post, anybody up for doing anything today? Like, I'm going to go and climb this hill. But if you're wanting to do anything, like, message me or whatever. And then I'll maybe get people messaging me like, oh, I'd like to do that, blah, blah, blah. And things like that. It's just like, again, doing different activities that people back home might not be. Like, drinking wise, I didn't even start drinking till I was 25. I wasn't out drinking with everybody. I've never taken drugs. Like, I don't even know what it's like to be. So I've been in situations where other people are doing that, and that's and I have no judgment on it. Like, do whatever you are wanting to do, but I just personally choose not to do it. Do you know what I mean? And again, when it comes to mental health, if you're taking substances, whether that's getting full of gear at the weekend, gone on a bender with drink at the weekend, and it comes to a Monday and you're feeling down and you're preaching about mental health, make sure that you're in a sober mind before you start preaching about having low mental health, because a lot of it will be a come down or will be a depressant for your drink. So what you need to do, first of all, is come off it, anything that you're on, and sit with your thoughts and say, actually, how am I actually feeling? Is life really this bad? Because again, I don't know how many men take their own life or do something daft after they're on a come down for drugs. So back home, it's just so freely done, where everybody's out at the weekend and they drink to get drunk, and then they go and get gear to straighten themselves up. And you think to yourself, they then come to it during the week where they're feeling down and depressed, and actually it's a come down that you're on. So that's another thing when you come for these areas where it is so, like, well, for example, me saying that I don't drink or I don't take drugs, that is something that's going to be a minority in the places that we've grown up.
Mm.
I remember when people used to say to me, what do you mean you don't drink? I don't really drink.
They just start thinking you've got an issue or a problem with it. So
Aye.
I just
A
choose
lot of
not to
people
drink.
say to me, or are like, are you sober or whatever? And no, I'm not in recovery for being an alcoholic. I don't need to drink. Like, I can go out to a night out and enjoy myself without a drink. It's just like that. So again, it's, everybody's obviously different, right? But what I'm saying is, like, if you do feel down, or you're feeling that type of way, the worst thing you can do is involve substances in it, because it's not going to make you feel any better. Maybe in the moment in time when you're out drinking, but slowly it's going to lead to what, fighting, lead to people being in the jail, like falling out with your loved ones, no getting home, fucking going on a bender and no getting home, because I don't know many of my guy pals do that. I used to sit in company and the missus would be phoning them and they would ignore the call. So if I'm pally with the missus, I'd be messaging, don't worry, I'm here, they're there, this is who's in the house, blah, blah, blah. And that's all. guys, that's what a woman wants to know, that you're safe and you're not going with anybody else. Because the reality is, majority of the time, a woman's head staying overtime in the house when you're out in a bender. And it's not because you're out cheating, it's because you're out with your pals getting furry. So, see if that's the case, just answer your fucking phone. Just message her and say, I'm alright. A woman would have more respect if you said, I'm out on a bender. I'm going through some stuff just now. She would have more respect for you answering a message than just completely ignoring it and getting home 3 days later. Do you know what I mean?
Communicating again, isn't it? It's just
Communication, that's it.
basics, isn't it? It's the stuff that, listen, definitely 9 times out of 10 problems it's the lack of communication. That's it. People don't know how to do it, and it's learning to do that, and even teaching your kids that from a young age and all. And it's just learning, letting people know how you are and what's going on, and it's just say people's minds going to overdrive.
Yep. And letting them know that their emotions are validated, like you're saying, even with kids, like many times, and we're all guilty or whatever, like even with my nephews or whatever, and it's like, or even us from our generations, right? And they'll say, well, they used to obviously say, I'll give you something to get about, right? But nowadays it's like, what you crying for or whatever. Like maybe just saying what I say to my nephews now, like if they've fell and hurt themselves, right, or whatever, right, and they start greeting. So I'll say, first of all, I'll say, are you okay? And they'll go, yeah. And I'll say, what do you want? Do you want a hug? Do you want me to kiss it better? Do you want this? Do you want a sweet? Do you want and then they'll say, I want a hug. And then you just give them a hug and then that's it. Even Wayne's, they'll be able to tell you what they want in that moment. Or they might just want to greet. And half the time, like they might be tired or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So again, like following that through to adulthood, if somebody's doing or whatever, like, how can I be there for you? Even your partner, like, what can I do to better this if it's your relationship or whatever? Like, what can I do that's going to help this? Or even, and I know it sounds daft, but see sitting down with your partner, whether it's every week, every 2 weeks or whatever, right, and going like that, like, right, so where are we at this week? Aye, what are we doing this week? Like, is there date nights? Is there what or whatever? Did I say anything this week that upset you? That would be a really good one. Did I say or do anything this week that upset you? And giving them that floor to just say, see, rather than it festering or it becoming an argument, just say, I actually see on Tuesday when I was doing the dishes and you said I can't do the dishes right. It kind of hurt my feelings because I felt like you always asked me to do the dishes. Then the one time that I did do them, it's not good enough. And then they'll be like, oh, sorry, I didn't know you felt like it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Nah.
it's just to have stuff like that. But that could literally prevent, because some people feel unheard in a relationship, some people feel undervalued, or some people feel like they're putting in more than the other person. And actually, to just sit back, because I used to like counsel, I used to train. Like I used to train my pals, right, which were husband and wife, and they would get trained separately, like on the PT side of it, and like, and obviously that you'd have your wee moans about your partner or whatever, right? And so I remember saying one day, like, why don't we just sit down and do like a wee counselling session? That wasn't part of my personal training, but I just was like, why don't we do it? Do you know what I mean? And we literally just, I says to them, right, what is like, and a lot of the arguments about the tasks in the house or whatever, right? And I say, right, so I says, well, write down everything that needs done in the house. And obviously, by default, a lot of time it is women. And I'm not saying that's in every relationship, but a lot of time that is it, right? So say there was 12 tasks in the house, right? And she's doing 10 of them. So I'm saying to him, right, she's doing 10, you're doing 2. What other 3 do you think you could do that would take the load off her? You choose. Right, okay, right, I'll do the washing, so I'll fold the washing, so I'll do this. And like that. And that solved so many problems. Just that one task, do you know what I mean? And you're thinking, all it takes is to sit down, and sometimes it does need to be out with the relationship, because some people can feel like if you're in a relationship and your partner's coming to you, they can feel like attacked or whatever if you're saying something that you're not happy about, but it's not an attack. You're actually saying it because you care and because you want to progress the relationship. It's when they're quiet and they stop moaning, that's when you need to watch, because that's when they're checking out. Listen to us with relationship advice and motivation,
Mhm.
speaking and all that. But do you know what I mean? It is just like
It's
everything in
doable.
life. It's all like,
It's true. Listen to you keep mentioning that word empathetic. I'm doing that, and I'm trying to do that on the side. That I've actually got another web page called Empathetic Life Coach.
brilliant.
And one of the reasons I do the podcast is to speak with more people and understand how people think and stuff like that, and actually listen to kind of awkward conversations, because I feel like as a life coach, that's something you need to do. And one
Hmm.
of the things they say when the life coach is you're that safe space for people. And that's all I'm hearing for you as well, is that you're that person. Is that something you'd ever think as well, the life coaching and stuff like that?
Aye, so it's bad when you say stuff and you're like, but I had when I was in Greece, I had started a wee page. It was Serenity with Steph, because my PT name was Shred with Steph. So I'd done Serenity with Steph, and I was looking into life coaching because like that, a lot of people would come to me, or how are you happy all the time, or like I feel so better when I phone you and I come off and I'm always feeling better and blah blah blah. And then I thought, oh, maybe I could do it, but again, like that, I had started it. Then other things got in the way. Then I went to Thailand and I was too busy focusing on my friend's business, no focusing on me. So that is something that I would like to get into, because I feel that I like that. I genuinely feel that my purpose on earth is to help people. In what capacity that is, I don't know, but I have an urge to help people regardless of what. I could be walking down the street and I see a wee old woman with her bags or whatever. Like, I'm always like going out to help. Like, I'm always trying to, and I don't even think about it. And so when I come across people who aren't like that, like I struggle, because I go, would you not want to help them? Do you not automatically go to help them? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I do. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's when you start to pick up on why you're different for people, and maybe that is like our calling in life, whether that's be through our voices, whether that's podcasting or life coaching, is that actually, although we can talk and stuff like that, I know I'm doing a lot of the talking, but like we can talk, but we can also listen. Do you know what I mean? Like, aye, so that's definitely. I think we'll have some collabs in the future. We'll be doing stuff.
100%, because like, because obviously when me doing the life coaches, I'm looking into that and I'm being surrounded with the kind of people and trying to pick up tips and stuff like that. But the biggest thing for a life coaching, because I used to always have that kind of like imposter syndrome. A lot of people do with their dreams and stuff like that. But when it comes to like life coaching as well, it's like you've got that calling, you've got that in you, that empathy in you to actually want to help and serve, and sometimes you don't even know why. It's just you in it.
It's just in you.
And I lost my chain of thought there. But no, it's just like gosh, I forgot what I was saying.
Just about your life coaching page and stuff like that, and being empathetic.
So just being surrounded by like-minded people and just I just want to help, and it's something, as I say, I don't know why. It's just in us, isn't it? You just like, as you say, everybody's different, but we've obviously got that in us, like we just want to help, and I'm the same as you. I didn't know how we do it. For me, it was just who I was. I'm just trying to find that platform to help as many people as I can. And I'm getting that off of you as well, Steph. That's I can see the personality somewhere there.
And that's what you usually find as well, because once you start creating content and doing the things that you're doing, you then sort of attract like-minded people. So then you're drawn to people for that reason. And there's like, again, there's a reason why we've crossed paths. There's a reason why like you're drawn to certain pages, even the For You page, for example, on TikTok. That's a For You page because it's going to be things that you're interested in, things that you're spending time watching. Because if you're just scrolling past stuff, it's not going to show up as much. So the things that you're invested in and start like your vibe attracts your vibe, as they say. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Where like you will start to feel that the more stuff, as you come out of where we've been in life and you have done things like gone away, travelling and being more creative. When you've got a creative mindset, it's like you then thrive off being around people who are like that as well. And that's our kind of dopamine hit, where it's like you're excited about stuff, like you're excited to do the podcast, you're excited about life coaching, excited about helping other people. And that's just like the kind, gentle nature that you've got, where it's like, and people can relate to you because you're so down to earth as well. So that's where people will find you approachable. So that's where under here you can put your page for your life coaching and anybody watching this. Because sometimes you'll get males who want to speak to males, and you'll maybe get females who want to speak to females as well. So for anybody who's out there who's looking for life coaching, John's your man.
Wow, Steph, sold, sold.
That's it.
No, man, no, awesome, man, Steph. That's been amazing, man. We're nearly on 40. Wow, it's flew past.
I know what we like for Dom.
But no, with life coaching as well. Like you said, you do need to be able to listen, but gosh, I love to talk, man.
And well, if I do anything, then I'm going to have you on as my guest. Okay? Because John's got great life stories that I don't even know that I want to find out as well, because I know he's been through a lot in his life, and we'd really like to hear your story. So I think we should do an episode, and it can be on your podcast, but I'm the one that gets to ask you all the questions, and
Oh,
you can tell everybody who you are. Because I think it'd be good for like the viewers watching to like just know a wee bit more about you as well, because then they can relate more to you and your stories and how you've been, because you're here and you tell everybody else's stories and people can relate to them, but no many people will know your stories. So if you let me, I'll come on and I can ask you all the questions.
no, definitely. I'm keen for that. No, I have tried to date before, but it's hard because nobody likes talking
Have
about
yourself.
themselves, do they? Sometimes they need that. They need.
You need
They
a wee
need.
push.
It needs to be pulled out a wee bit. You know what I mean? And I think I'm definitely like that because, like, as I say, it's difficult just talking about yourself. It like I'm the one who
Mhm.
can talk myself up, bomb myself up, but yeah, it's something I need
Well,
work.
what we can do is we can ask the audience. So, guys, if there's anything about John that you want to know, like childhood, like we can go through all the different stuff. So, why don't you put in the questions below, and then I can ask them. That's
Aye,
good.
no, cool. Keen for that.
But thanks for having me. Like I've really enjoyed chatting to you and
No, it's
coming
been
on.
because, like, I don't know about you, Steph. Even stuff like this, we talk about like therapy and stuff. Like, even just listening. I mean, it's
Definitely.
just getting off your
hmm
chest and talking and having that freedom and just to just be in it, and it just it's so good for the
Exactly.
soul. Honestly,
hmm
it's food for the soul.
Where you can just be yourself and you can just openly speak without the fear of judgment, without anything, any type of way, because of the type of people that we are, and we know that we're doing earth, and we know that we're open. We are like safe for each other to speak to. Do you know what I mean? And it's a case of like it is so hard for where we come from. Like, and I know I go back to where we grew up, but that is the reality. Like Glasgow is, and Scotland in general, like is a place where people are just surviving. They're in flight or fight mode, and it's like they're just trying to survive life. So they can't even get down to the emotional part because they're just trying to stay alive.
No good
Whether
time for it.
that's been through, like living standards, cost of living, or whether that is physically trying to stay alive because of whatever's going on in life, like they've not even got the capacity to touch on the emotional intellect level, because it's like, fuck's sake, I'm just trying to live here. I can't even touch one. Like if I open that can of worms, like that's just going to set me off. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And then when you barely get through the day, never mind.
That's it.
Thanks, Steph.
No, no worries.
I loved
Thanks
it.
for having me. But we'll definitely do it. We'll set up a wee man where I'm asking you the questions. I think that'll be good.
No, good. I know. I'll get us out, and maybe if we'll get we'll no, we will. We'll get some questions in, and I'm an open book now. Honestly, I'm happy to answer any questions, man. I'm just I'm in that place, and I'm just, as I said, I just feel I turned 40 myself,
Mhm.
and I was talking to somebody, and she said it was a woman. She said to me, "You get to that age where you just literally don't care. It's like you know who you are, and that's where I'm at. So I don't mind. Ask
Mhm.
anything."
Good. Yes, guys, get your questions in.
Nah, no, thanks, Steph. That's awesome.
No, thanks for having me.
I'll
Thanks,
finish
guys.
here, but
Oh,
great
you put
question.
your life coach link below as well,
Aye, well, I need to. I know.
because I'll need to go and add it, because I didn't even know you had that page, so I'll go and add it as well.
Well, it's just literally just it's like it's just a page. There's not even anything added to it.
Anything yet?
Aye, but it's
Maybe when we do your podcast, we'll snippet some of your wee quotes, and we'll put that up on your page.
oh, is it brilliant. Cheers, Steffi.
Thanks a lot. Right, I'll see you later.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.